and welcome to another episode of Webinar Wednesday. Today we are coming to you on a bit of a somber note. There's the situation in India with COVID is very serious now. It's very heartbreaking. And so we've got a couple of things that we want to talk about today. Kevin and Mark, how are you guys doing?
Really good, thanks, Megla. Except it's Friday, not Wednesday.
Yeah. It's Friday, yes.
I do feel better at the end of the week.
We're well, Megla, but what's going on in India at the moment is a bit heartbreaking, as you say. And
yes,
not a lot we can do, but there is some things we can try and do. And over the last couple of days, I mean, we've had many sort of messages from people who have been trying to contact suppliers, and I've said, I hope they're okay, and to sort of, I mean, obviously people have got a lot on their mind at the moment, and hey guys, if you don't respond back to you just now, just be patient, and I'm sure as things sort of calm down a little, they'll sort of come back and help you best as they can.
Yeah, and look, some of India is still working. I've actually had a shipment that's been transported from Moorabad down to Mumbai in the last couple of days, and dealing with Shemesh, and it's going to be shipped. So it's not all bad. Things are still moving, but some of the suppliers obviously have are unable to work because they're in a lockdown or have family ill or something. So I think it's just depending who you're dealing with, and just got to wait and see how it all goes.
Yeah, and I think certain cities are affected more. So, for example, Delhi is very seriously affected. The situation is really bad there, and they are in a complete lockdown. If you do have suppliers or sourcing agents in Delhi, but they're still working from home. A lot of people are still working from home if they're not able to go to their factories or offices. But they may be, they may have family members that are affected, or their own family might be affected, or maybe they're helping other friends. So, yeah, Kevin, you're right. I think we just need to be a bit patient at this time. And in case people don't respond, just understand that they're probably dealing with a lot of different issues. And in fact, over the last week or 10 days, whoever I've talked to either has a friend or a family member who's affected, or somebody in their own family has been affected. So, I mean, they've been affected directly or indirectly. I'm in a lot of WhatsApp groups as well, and I'm seeing a lot of people, asking for help there. Hey, my mom needs a bed in ICU. Do you know anybody? Or my own cousin is affected as well, and I mean, he's at home. He doesn't need to be hospitalized. But yeah, it's very bad, the situation there, especially
and the other thing too, Megla, a lot of people in India, unfortunately, they live from day to day. It's not like we're fortunate that we sort of do can have savings and and credit cards and different means to keep us and get us by each day, each week, each month. And some people that unfortunately they struggle in the daily sort of grind, and if they're being locked down, obviously some of those people might be able to get what they need on a daily basis, not let alone
I think it's even, I actually watched something on the television yesterday, and they were from Australia, but they actually can't even access cash. So they're all trying to pool their money between all their friends to get enough foods and things to keep, them going. So it's, you don't realise unless you're there, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do today on this episode is, first of all, we're going to introduce a nonprofit organization from the US that is doing really good work in terms of raising money and helping people over there in India. So they are organizing oxygen cylinders, for example, and they're also helping, provide supplies to people who are not able to afford them. So we, somebody in our group, was it Pooja Gupta, right, Mark?
Pooja Gupta,
Pooja, yeah. So Pooja Gupta had posted this link in our group, and thanks a lot for that, Pooja. So we followed up with the organization. Margaret contacted them because we do want to make sure that they are really a genuine organization. So Mark and Kevin reached out to them, and they replied. We wanted somebody from the organization to be on the show today, but they were not able to join us, but they've sent us a PowerPoint presentation with details about the organization and what they're doing. So we're going to run through that presentation, and we're going to ask you guys, if possible, to donate a little bit to help India deal with this situation. And then what a coincidence that today's presentation is about building businesses with a heart. It's just a huge coincidence. And we've got Payman Lorenzo doing that presentation. So let me first of all invite Payman on screen here today. Hi, Payman. How are you doing? Are you muted?
Hi, Megla. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Kevin. Hi, everyone. Greetings from wherever in the beautiful world you may be.
Hello, Payman. Lovely to have you on board today.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Megla, for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Payman, for joining us. And what a coincidence. I was just saying that your presentation today is about building businesses with a heart. And today we are actually requesting all of the people in our group, businesses in our group, to actually join us for a cause. So what I want to do is I want to share this presentation and also talk to you a little bit about this organization that is called Seva USA. I'm going to scroll their URL over here, so you can check out the organization at sevausa.org. This is an American-based company. It's an NGO, and what they do is, so this is some estimates that they have given us, and the number is probably higher because I've been talking to people in India as well, and a lot of people are not getting tested; they're just treating themselves at home. So it's the numbers could be way higher than they are being reported. So this organization, Seva, they have this goal of raising $10 million, and they've already raised $5.7 million. And Kevin, do you want to talk a little bit about the organization, because you have actually done a bit of research and talked to them as well?
Well, they're a Hindu faith-based company, and obviously they don't just do they're not just set up just for this particular pandemic. They do a lot of charities based around the world. In fact, I mean, in Sri Lanka and a lot of different companies. I think it's in the slides as you go through, Megla. We did try, and we were talking to one of their representatives, and we did try to get them to actually, but they're all so busy with what's going on in India. And we felt that, we tie them up for their time, and they graciously give us the PowerPoint. But they're not just set up for this incline, and they do help a lot of the poor people as well. And it's a lot of different medicines that they help people with. And so it's not just the oxygen concentrators, although this time, that's the goal, is to help with the oxygen concentrators, because it's the oxygen concentrators that, because of the COVID, that's how they help people best. But a lot of the poor people who haven't and are not privy to just basic medicines or food on a daily basis, or a little bit of cash to help them, survive tomorrow. I mean, as I said before, we're fortunate in our lifestyle that we, I've got, we've got credit cards, and we can, we're not just living from day to day or whatever, and we only have to go to a chemist to get basic medicines that we need, and it's all over the shelf. Some poor people they're not, they haven't got them at the end of the street. They haven't got them in the local. So these people, the charities, go out, and you've got volunteers that go out and about and spread the word into different communities and help as best they can. So I hope that explains it all a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the issues in India right now is that there's a shortage of oxygen cylinders and oxygen overall. And so even if you're well off, you still can't get it because they're just in short supply. So I think one of the things that this charity is doing is that they're buying oxygen or they're sending up cylinders from different parts of the world to India.
And look, Megla, COVID has got no boundaries. Whether you're rich, wealthy, poor, it doesn't matter. If it's not available, it's just that the organisation, as I say, it helps everybody as best it can, from in all rich, poor, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. It just helps people in need.
Yeah, absolutely. And so here they are distributing supplies to some low-income families in India as well. And here they're giving some more supplies to people. Because yeah, I mean, you're right, Kevin. Poor people are the most affected because a lot of these people are actually daily wage earners. So they go out and get, construction work or whatever, and they're living hand to mouth. So it's the most difficult for them. And then this is medicines. They're also sending medicines to India. So this is their URL, sevausa.org, and this is the fundraiser that was shared in our group, which is specifically for oxygen cylinders. But if you just go to their website, sevausa.org, you'll be able to see that they have a lot of different initiatives over there to help with COVID. So, you can donate for any of the different charities that they have over there, or the fundraisers that they have. So so that's what we would encourage everybody to do. All of us are connected with India in some way or the other. We are here in this India sourcing group. We hope to one day travel to India. So I just feel that all of us feel connected to India, and we should come together and support the people when they're in need.
And Megla, it doesn't matter how small the donation is. I'm sure it all is going to help in some way.
Exactly. Yeah. Every penny counts. So, whether it's $1, $5, $10, whatever you can do, that would be much appreciated.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, let's hope for the best. Let's keep praying that things improve there soon. Okay, so let's move on to our presentation today, and we have Payman Lorenzo. So Payman, before we get into your presentation, do you want to give an introduction and tell people a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Once again, good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Payman. I'm from Canada. I'll talk a bit more about myself in the presentation, but I'm a globetrotter. I've lived in 10 countries on 4 continents. And for me, one thing I realized is that the world is too beautiful to be just in one place. I want to live in as many places as possible. I was actually planning on going to a few countries to do my product. First Argentina, then Mexico, and now India. But unfortunately, because of what's going on, traveling is not possible. So we have to do it virtually. And eventually, as soon as things slow back, I will be on one of the first planes to India, because I want to meet the people I'm working with. And it's a country I've been meaning to visit for a long time. My parents have all been very, traveling a lot. My mother's been around the world, and she said one of the best experience she had was when she went to India. So, and I want to go and see that as well of my own. And of course, if I can go there with a purpose and a business and great friends like you guys, then that's the ultimate way to travel with a purpose and a mission, and to make an impact. Just to meet in person the people that I'm working with, shaking their hands, because it doesn't matter what kind of product you're selling. At the end of the day, you're dealing with people. It's a business people. And the more you can relate, the more you can build relationship and rapport with them, the better, the stronger, the deeper, the more meaningful your business is going to be. Because it's all about impact. It's not just about chasing material things or seeing the numbers on the bank account grow. That's meaningless. That's going to leave you empty, because that's not fulfilling. But when you a business is not about you, it's about seeing others grow and being better. I was just listening to a podcast earlier today. He said that if you're not contributing to make someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time. That's the ultimate definition of, being productive, I guess. Yeah. I can keep on that topic because I'm very passionate, but I'll just stop here. Otherwise, maybe I'll talk tomorrow morning.
Okay, so let's get started. I've shared your screen and we can get started.
Okay, is it sharing now or okay?
Yeah, it's sharing now. Oh, let me just move.
Are you guys seeing it? Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, so the topic I'm going to talk about is, as I said, not just building a business for the sake of business or just chasing money or products, but to make an impact, to have a business with a purpose and a heart. That's what I'm going to be talking about. So first of all, about me, as I said, I'm a globetrotter. I lived in 10 countries on 4 continents, 4 of which in China, here in Hong Kong. Speaks 6 languages. I love languages. For me, each new language is a new window into a new culture, and eventually I do want to learn Indian because I grew up in an environment where Indian movies and Indian song was very common. So I do understand a few words, but I cannot speak it. And of course, I want to learn it. And I don't think Indian will be as challenging as Chinese, because I was in China for 4 years, and I for the life of me, I can't even put a sentence together. But Indian, I think I can have a better luck in Indian than in Hindi, than in Chinese. I've been a serial entrepreneur all my life, ever since I was in high school. I've been involved in businesses all around the world for the past 15, 20 plus years. And when I was living in China, I went to China first for a job offer I couldn't refuse, which was as a football coach, a soccer coach. I did that for 2 years. I loved it. And then I did try to build a business myself about football. We're working with professional football clubs from Europe and South America, bringing them to China to develop their branding and all that. That was a tremendous experience, but it didn't work out. And then I moved to Hong Kong, tried to get back into e-commerce, and was in China as well. I didn't get involved with e-commerce. I was attending as many events and all that. I even helped some of my friends host and organize events. I was invited as well in some events to talk about e-commerce when I was there. And since I came back home last year, when this pandemic started, I've been wondering what to do next. And I said, I'm going to do something I really enjoy, always wanted to do, which is building something with a meaning, which is where the idea of Leaders with a Heart podcast and movement started. I'm going to cover that toward the end of this presentation. But that's basically the gist about me. At any time, any question, guys, just don't be shy. Ask me. Okay, so we know that in real estate, the golden rule is location, location, location. However, in business, especially in e-commerce, and even more so in 2021 and beyond, it's differentiation, 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 and then some more. So when it comes to e-commerce, there's two approaches. The one approach, which is what most people are doing, and it's going to lead you to getting crushed. So the question is, do you want to get crushed or do you want to crush it? Let's take a look at what getting crushed, or what the old school, old-fashioned way, the one that most people are doing and following are pursuing. And that used to work, but is no longer viable as an approach in today's hyper-competitive marketplace. So the recipe for getting crushed is sourcing from China, using the same softwares to do your product research, slightly improving your product and packaging, similar pricing, and sourcing from the same factories. And what you getting at the end of it is a product very similar to everyone else. Getting as what we call it, a Me Too product. So the one thing you definitely have to be careful is not ending up with a Me Too product, especially in today's marketplace. Let's take a look at what is a Me Too product. We all know this product, probably one of the most famous one, our beloved garlic press. I just took the screenshot just a couple of days ago. If you look at it, there's not much differentiation between all of them. They all have about the same look, same design, same pricing, about the same numbers of reviews. Sure, the one on the bottom left is a bit different, as maybe it looks more sturdy. And as a result, they have not only a lot more reviews, but also they cost a few dollars more. But that's not a big way to differentiate. At the end of the day, it's still going to be very similar to the other one. So it doesn't give them such a big, differentiation and uniqueness. So it's still, at the end of the day, it's still a Me Too product. Now let's take a look at what it takes to crushing it in today's marketplace. And that's what I call the multiple layers of differentiation, meaning that we need to differentiate as many layers as possible. The first one is when it comes to sourcing. While everyone else is sourcing from China, let's see if we can source it from other alternative countries. And I'll mention a few in a moment. That's the first obvious thing to do. The second one is, as far as product research, let's look beyond the same few softwares, Jungle Scout, Helium 10, and so on and so forth. Sure, they are good to give us some ideas, to see if the keywords make sense and all that, but what we want to do is to be different, to be able to distinguish ourselves. So let's look beyond that. I'm not going to cover about product research, because we can do not only just an entire presentation, but an entire conference on that. And I'm sure most of you guys listening to this are very familiar with that. So we're not going to waste too much time on that. Another key aspect of differentiating is, let's not just limit ourselves to selling random products just because the numbers make sense, or just because they're on hot trending curve currently, just looking for, if we're only chasing after the next fidget spinner or whatever. We might make some money in the short term, but it's not a viable option to build a long-term business. And I'm sure most of the people listening here are looking to build sustainable long-term businesses with a brand and all that. And for that, in order to achieve that, the first thing we need to do is not, sure, the numbers help, but what we really need to focus on is identify the avatar of a perfect customer, and which is a very specific person with a very specific pain point, and we trying to help and serve that person with that specific pain point. Our product is going to be the solution, or is going to be what's going to be addressing that specific pain point for that specific person. That's one of the most important things to do to really differentiate your business and to build a solid foundation for the long term. And then one part that I will be spending some good amount of time on that later on in this presentation is having a powerful story. And I'll give you a couple of examples and how that is extremely important, because at the end of the day, what's going to be selling your product, it's not going to be the features, the colors, the size, the price, and packaging, and so on and so forth. Those will be factors that will contribute to the selling, but what's going to make the selling for you is your story. And that's what we're going to cover in a bit later on, the importance of having a powerful story in your brand. And then finally, and that's what this presentation is about, last but definitely not least, is having a business is just more than just a business to make sales and make money for yourself. It's a business that's going to have a heart, a cause, a meaning, a purpose, going to have an impact. It's not just about us making money, but also, yes, we all need to make money to pay our bills, take care of families, but also we need to do it in a way that we can also have an impact, positive impact around us. And that's what's going to be, in my opinion, the trump card is going to really take your business to the next level. And that's what we're going to talk about in this presentation, the focus of it, the most of it. Now, let's take a look at here, for example, in a very simple way to summarize what I said. We have 5 products, all very similar. You have 4 Me Too products and one that is very different. You have 5 different colors, each color presenting a different element, like I mentioned you here in the previous slide, and all that. So you can see that's going to really stand out. And when people look at it, it's a no-brainer. Everyone's going to 99% of the time going to go for that one versus any other. Now, I mentioned about one of the first aspects of differentiating ourselves, and that is to source in a different location than China. And the first obvious option that comes to mind is India. India is an incredible treasure trove for us e-commerce business people, because, and I'm going to talk about that, it has incredible, unique features of it. Let's take a look at some of them. And Megla, feel free to join in and add if I'm missing anything or correct if anything I'm saying. Let's do a quick comparison, because right now, as I said, most people, including myself, have been sourcing from China. China has all the logistics and all that. Have been the factory of the world and all that. But things are changing, not only about geopolitical and all that, but also about the needs of people, the marketplace demand. As I said, the marketplace is becoming very competitive now, and people want more than just Me Too products. And that's where India is really stepping up, because India offers something that China currently is lacking. I just made a quick comparison between the two. Once again, Megla, feel free to correct me and add to anything I'm missing here. Let's go one by one. In India, products are handmade using natural materials. In China, they're mass-produced using artificial materials. And because they're handmade and using natural materials in India, that provides us with a lot of unique design that may or may not be that readily available in China. And because of that, the opportunities for differentiation are a lot higher in India than in China. And also, because in India, pretty much everything is handmade by artisans, that gives us a tremendous opportunity to build a story. For example, we can, and I'm going to cover that in a bit later, we can showcase the people that are building our product, showcase them, introduce them, post pictures of them, and so on and so forth. That's something that we very easily do in India, but in China, that's not really possible, because it's not very, very likely for someone working in a factory to be in a good mood to do so, and also because of the language barrier. In India, people speak English, but in China, they don't, especially the people working in the factory lines. Because the products are all handmade naturally with natural materials and unique designs, we can command higher prices for the products in India versus the Me Too product looking in China. Another major positive point about India is that the MOQs are a lot lower because they're mostly handmade as opposed to mass produced on a factory line. And in China, they're pretty high because, again, they're produced in a big factory, and for them to make any product, they have to justify the cost. That's a big one. The tariffs. If you're sourcing from China and selling in the US, you're going to be subject to 25% plus of tariffs. Whereas in India, there are tariffs that apply mainly to industrial, automotive, and motorcycle parts. But I don't believe anyone in this group is sourcing any product from those categories. For normal products, from my understanding, is that the tariffs on products made in India are about less than 5%. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, Megla. Compare 5%, less than 5% to 25+%. Of course, that's a big factor. Another big beef pet of mine, especially after living in China for 4 years and having been to countless factories, is IP infringement. In China, it's always a concern that somehow down the line, your IP or your idea might get copied or stolen by someone. It's just part of the game over there. But in India, my understanding is that the IP is a lot safer there because people are just want to do a product, and they just they're not that much into copying. A big one for me is the language barrier. As I said, I lived in China for 4 years. I went with the best of intention and tried to learn Chinese, but Chinese is a completely alien language, and I'm good with languages. I speak 6 languages. The only 2 that I learned in school are English and French. All the others I learned by myself without spending a day in a classroom, but I learned by myself. I tried to implement the same practices with Chinese, but needless to say, I didn't go anywhere. So the language is huge in China. I mean, language barrier. Whereas in India, pretty much everyone speaks English, and the English penetration is pretty high, even among the countryside. The culture is pretty similar to the Western culture in India versus in China. Again, when you land in China, you don't feel like in a different country. You feel like a completely different planet because it's absolutely. I mean, it's words cannot describe it. You have to be on the ground to really experience it. And the last point that I mentioned, and that's a big one, especially very relevant currently, is political stability. India is quite stable politically speaking, but China lately has been quite not so stable, and the relationship between China and the Western countries currently for the past few months as a result of the pandemic have not been the best. So again, for anyone building a long-term business, we have to ask ourselves that legitimate question of, is China a viable option for the long term for anyone building a business? Because let's say we start producing manufacturing in China, and let's say, God forbid, within a year or two, things go south, then our business is going to be badly affected. So that's something that, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we have to, as a business people, we have to be aware of it, and we have to make the right decisions before that happens. So it's a matter of not putting all our baskets in one all our eggs in one basket. So these are the reasons for me that the differences between India and China. And I'm very excited about what India represents because, again, I really love the fact that it's handmade products, natural materials, premium materials, unique designs by actual people, so you can build actual beautiful branding and story. And of course, the result, you can command higher prices. For me, I'm extremely excited to be exploring what India has to offer as far as manufacturing for my next brand and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Let's
I
take
just
a look.
want to add over here,
Sure.
Payman, one thing that I think there's a lot of focus on eco-friendly products. I mean, you mentioned natural products, but also eco-friendly products specifically. So, I mean, we featured so many suppliers on Virtual India Sourcing Show that are trying to be innovative in terms of looking for new alternative materials, for example, plant-based leather or, biodegradable disposable dinnerware, for example, or different kinds of things. And there's a lot of focus on being eco-friendly. There's this one company that we haven't featured them yet, but they're on our list, and they produce these notepads that have seeds in them. So once you write on the paper, you just plant the paper on the sheet of paper, and then you'll have a little plant growing out of that. So
Wow.
yeah, I think there's a lot of focus on just
Sure.
eco-friendly sustainability as well.
And please do bring that company, because I would be very intrigued by what they have to offer. I'm always open to
Yeah.
exploring new options. All
Yeah,
right.
of course.
Payment. There's many companies that we found in the
Yes.
past few months. They're just there sitting, waiting for us to knock on their door.
Absolutely. And actually, Megla, you introduced me to an amazing company. I've been dealing with them. Again, they've been absolutely night and day when it comes to dealing with them versus China. Again, it's not that the Chinese company are bad. It's just basically mainly because of the communication barrier is no longer a barrier for us. So they've been amazing. And I'm hoping and praying that they're going to be able to overcome this current challenges in India so we can get things going soon. So yeah, you've been bringing some amazing companies, Megla. So please keep bringing them on, keep them on coming. Okay, so here, as I said, let's take a look at just a picture of some of the products that are, as I said, made in India. As you can see, they're really jump to your eyes, very colorful, very unique, very premium looking. That when you see them, you're really wowed. As opposed to, let's take a look at again these Me Too product. Nothing special about them. It's all about, when you see this product, it's all depend. Most people are just going to go for the cheapest. Even if you go for the premium, it's going to be like just what, $4 more. That's not really a product that's going to be memorable. It's going to be, you're going to be wild with. But if I were you were to buy a product like that, you would be wild and you would be posting it on social media and telling everyone and all that. I mean, just look at them; they just pop to your eyes. Completely no brainer. And of
Can I
course, you
tell you
can charge a
something
lot
about
more.
these photos, Payman?
Please.
These are photos that I have taken at the Delhi Fair
Wow.
in February 2019.
Nice.
So we launched the India sourcing trip in October 2019, and then in February I had gone there to do some background research and try to set up everything for the trip in October. And so these are photos that I had taken from like at stalls over there to show people what kind of products are made there. So yeah, I'm really happy to see these photos over here.
And honestly,
and I think, go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Margaret. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, look, and I think once you get to the Delhi Fair, you just can't believe the amount of different products that there are. I mean, it's, this is only, I suppose, a very small portion. And a lot of it, I expected it to be a lot more, I suppose, Indian looking, what we would find, an Indian sort of mart store here. But most of the products are really more, I think, suitable for the whole world market. They're not, there are a few stores where you think too much look too much like an Indian product, but like we've sort of developed all our products out of India now, and I mean I love everything. And a lot of the products you don't even really know they're made in India. To look at, you don't think, oh, that's come out of India because of the look of it. So I think that's what people have got to get over as well. That when you go there, you could actually get sort of what I call mainstream look products, but they're much better quality and made out of nicer materials and things, but they don't really just are not suitable for sort of, I suppose, a smaller market. There's a very broad market that you can sell to.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember listening to podcasts 5, 10, 15 years ago about guys saying that go to China, go to any market, and you can build an entire empire of e-commerce product because it's so freaking cheap over there. But I think now we can say about the same thing about India. Go to India, anyone is courageous and has the vision, set up shop there, and you can build an absolute empire just from India, launching product after product. Not just launching product, but beautiful products, and then even more beautiful if you can really build a beautiful story behind it and add a cost to it. Actually, that's one of my plans. As soon as it's feasible again to travel, I would love to spend a few months to a year or two in India to set up some roots there and to really launch beautiful products and build beautiful brands from there. Because again, the opportunity is absolutely mind-blowing from India. Anyways, okay, so but as good as India is, it's not the only gaming town. Same for China. There's other countries that are also springing up and offering some really good potential. Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Mexico. Even for a product I was looking at, the main material I was looking for is actually from Mexico, and also the US, Canada, and Europe. Again, depending on what kind of product you're trying to launch. but do not sleep on these countries. Don't just assume that wherever you might be, even Australia, New Zealand, whatever, doesn't mean that you cannot launch a product from there. Again, depends what you're looking to launch, but it's always good to explore locally, especially on. Sure, we don't have Alibaba in these countries, but we can always look on Etsy and Pinterest and places like that, or Facebook Market, and try to locate an artisan, a craftsman, or whatever. There's some really hidden treasures right next to you, just under your nose, if you really dig a little bit deeper. So don't sleep on those guys. And even myself, because right now, as I said, my product, I want to do it in India, but right now India is not really as badly affected. I'm starting to even look for potential artisans here in Canada, because you never know. So again, don't limit yourself, guys, just to one or two countries, because the beautiful thing of living in this global, world is that we're not limited to just one place. We can do it anywhere in the world, or we can do it right here in our backyard. All right, so let's jump right now to the main point, the meat and potato of this presentation, which is building a business with a heart. What is a business with a heart? It's basically aligning your business with a cause that is dear to you and resonates with your audience. It's a building a business that is not just about making money for the sake of chasing material things or seeing a number go up in your bank account, but it's all about impact, helping those around us. It's basically, as a saying goes, it's doing business God's way, not the world's way. And that's basically what I define as a business with a heart, is doing business God's way instead of the world's way. Here's a staggering fact that I saw while reading a book recently. A study done by Deloitte in the early 2000s found out that among all the Americans that were surveyed, 72% of them said that, with all else being equal in terms of pay, benefits, location, career prospects, and all that, they would rather work for a company that is socially conscious and is cause-driven versus one that is purely profit-driven. Why is that? Is that because, and that's something I'm going to explain further down a little bit, is that people want to do good. Most people want to do good, but they just don't know. They don't know how to do it, because most people are either financially constrained, or they don't have the time or the money, or don't know where to go, how to start. But if you and me allow them to do good through the purchase of our products, then we can empower them to feel that good. If we can allow them to do good by not doing anything else other than just purchasing our products, they will be extremely grateful. And that's the gist of it. And you can bet anything you want that the same ratio of 72% applies also to e-commerce, because especially since the last year, since the pandemic has started, more and more people are buying online, and not only that, but more and more people are becoming more and more socially conscious. They want to deal with companies that are actually not just profit driven, but also cost driven. Why is doing good with our business is really good, and why should we do it? First and foremost is because I believe that as a human being, it's the right thing to do. And also because as entrepreneurs, I believe that we have a responsibility and a duty to do good, because again, that's the right thing to do. We have this idea that capitalism is all about dog eats dog. Well, that can be true. It doesn't have to be that way. That might have been the case in the past because people might not have been that enlightened. But nowadays, as more and more people are becoming more and more socially conscious and aware, that's changing. People want to make money, be successful, not only for themselves, but also can give back, because a lot of people are looking to give back, because giving back is what's going to give them what is the most important thing in life, which is meaning and purpose. And the giving that we do, it's not just about, the donation or whatnot. It's about positively impacting them, giving them, most importantly, giving them, it's not what you give them, whether it's $1, a meal, whatever. That's not the main thing. The main thing is giving them hope, giving them belief in themselves, belief in and the goodness of human being, and just helping them, because quite a lot of people currently have been, going through very hard times, and they just need help to just get over that and to get back on their feet. Especially if you're living in the US and Canada, unfortunately, we see a lot of homeless people currently. These are not just bums. These are people that were highly educated. They just had a bad circumstances or whatever. They lost their job. They went through a bad divorce or whatnot. And with the rising cost of living and the pandemic, now they're on the street. So again, what we can do for these people is just giving them hope, giving them belief in themselves. And for most people, that's what's going to take to get them back on their feet. And that's the most important thing. And also because, when we do good, it's not just for us to help, but also to inspire others. Because not any single individual can change the world. But if each and every single one of us can do a little bit in our own ways, we can have influence in our own small sphere of influence, and then each of us inspires just one other person to do good, and so on and so forth. Before long, we can completely change the world and make the world into a much better place. So that's why I believe that doing good for our businesses is so important. As I said earlier, is because when we help others and lifting others, we rise. When you help someone else, when you see that, there's nothing more powerful, more beautiful, more touching than when you see the gratefulness in someone's eyes that you just helped. It really touches you at your deepest, as I like to call. It's an orgasm for the soul, because that's the most powerful feeling you can feel. When you help someone, there's nothing to give you, and you're helping them not expecting anything, but just because you want to help them. That's the most powerful feeling you can get. And as I mentioned earlier, is because you don't have to be a millionaire to really help. If you help someone, you will feel an incredible sense of responsibility, and you will feel powerful because you're actually making a difference. It's about making a difference. And we're doing something that you're contributing, you're helping someone else, you will feel excited, you will feel passion, you will feel a purpose. Most importantly, you will feel meaning to your life, because most of us are looking, and that's the most important thing that most people are lacking is meaning, a purpose. A lot of people are very successful, making a lot of money, but they're completely unfulfilled, completely miserable, because they don't have a meaning, they don't have a purpose. And if you build a business, if you pursue to make a difference and impact, that's what's going to give you the purpose, the meaning, the passion, the excitement, the sense of responsibility, the fulfillment that you might be lacking. But once you have that, your life is going to be completely different. You will be almost like a reborn. I want to share with you guys a couple of life-changing principles that have completely reshaped the way I see things. The first one is a very powerful quote by the eternal Mark Twain that said, "The two most important dates in our lives are, one, when we are born, and two, when we realize why we are here." Again, a lot of us go through life as on autopilot, just trying to make a living, paying the bills, and so on and so forth, but always having a sense of emptiness. And when we set a goal for ourselves and we reach it, and then once we get it, we say, okay, is that all there is to it? So that's not the right way to go it. But when we do find out why we are here, that's almost like being born again. It's like your life is going to be completely transformed, transcended, because you will have an actual meaning. And once you do that, you're going to become completely different person. The second quote, and that's a quote that I completely espouse, is becoming part of my life. It's been part of my life since I was a kid, but now that I saw it and such a beautiful way written, I mean, it's so powerful that it really stopped me on my track the other day. It says, "I don't chase profits. I pursue my purpose." When you pursue your purpose, it brings you passion. And when you combine both purpose and passion, then profits will naturally flow to you. Because I said again, if all you're doing is just chasing profit, sure, you might make money. You might get the car, the house, the yacht, whatever you're looking for. But once you get it, it's just going to be like any toy. After a week or two or a month, you're going to be tired of it. And then you're going to be wondering, is it all there is to it? What's next? It's going to be an endless race to get the next thrill. Whereas if you're doing something that you really love, that you're really passionate about, and that's in line with the purpose that you have in your life, then you're going to become a force of nature. You're going to become unstoppable. And when that happens, when you combine passion and purpose, then profits will naturally flow into your life without you even trying. And again, doing good not only is good is the right thing to do as a human being, but also it's pretty damn good for business. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, 72% of people want to work for a company that's cost driven, and the same ratio applies to, especially nowadays, to people buying products online. They want to buy from socially conscious, socially aware companies, because again, people want to do business with people that are doing good. Everyone wants to do good, but most don't have the money or don't know how to start. But again, if you and me, we can allow them to do good, to the purchase of our products without them doing anything, then they will be extremely grateful, and they will not feel guilty buying our products. They will buy multiples of it. They will share it. They will talk about it. They will rave about us, and they will do our marketing for us, resulting in us getting a lot of word of mouth referrals, PR, media attention, and so on and so forth. So it's a win-win, because when you do good, the universe repays you in tenfold, hundredfold. Another mind-blowing stat: 85% of all business decisions are done through word of mouth. For example, let's say you're looking to start a podcast or get a new camera. The first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna ask your friend, "Hey, what's a good camera you can recommend to me? What's a good mic?" That's how it's done. You ask your friends, because these are much more trustworthy than any ads you can see online. And the best way to get people to refer to you is for you to have a business that actually makes a difference, makes an impact. The likelihood of you, if you're just a profit-driven company, the likelihood of you getting people to talk about you is pretty slim, unless you're Apple or Nike or whatever. But again, these are trillion-dollar companies. But for me and you, just starting as being just, not large global companies, word of mouth is one of the hacks, the shortcuts we can get to really not only get our business to where we want them to be, but to really make an impact. Let's take a look now at a global success, super success story about a company that went completely global, completely viral before even being viral was even a thing. I'm sure you guys have heard of Tom's Shoes by Blake Mycoskie. It's a very simple principle. Each time you buy a pair of shoes from them, they give a pair of shoes, same shoes, to people to needy people in the world. First, it started in Argentina, and then now it's worldwide. Their story is absolutely beautiful. Back in 2006, Blake was traveling around Argentina, and he noticed kids running around bare feet instead of going to school. So he asked people around him, "Why are these kids not attending school?" And he was told in Argentina, for kids to be able to go to school, they have to get not only the school uniform, but to be able to have shoes. But this kid couldn't afford neither. So he decided to help. And one way to do so, he took the traditional Argentinian canvas shoes, as you hear, the called alpargata, and he made a sturdy version for the US market. And for each pair that he would sell, he would donate one pair to kids back in Argentina. So when he went back home, first of all, he made a few in Argentina, and then he brought them all with him to the US. He started giving them to his friend, telling him a friend and all that. And people really liked the product because the product was unique. Back then in 2006, those shoes were not really available. But then once it started telling the people about the story that, hey, for each pair you buy, he will give a pair to a kid in Argentina to be able to cover their feet and to be able to go to school. People went crazy. Their eyes lit up. And as a result, the shoes started selling like hotcakes. And people just didn't buy one pair. They started buying multiples. Because again, people love that they were given an opportunity to do good to the purchase of these shoes without them doing anything extra. And that's the most powerful thing that for us to keep in mind. Again, people want to do good, but most people don't know how to do it. But if you give them an opportunity to do so to the purchase of your products without them doing anything else, they will be incredibly, incredibly grateful for the opportunity, but also for you for allowing them to do so. That's an incredibly powerful principle to keep in mind, guys. And in the process, when Blake started his shoe company, he had no experience in the shoe business, no contact. Between 2006 and 2011, he built the fastest growing shoe company in the world, competing with the likes of Nike, Adidas, and so on and so forth, without any outside investment, and build it to a $500 million business. And the kicker was in the process, the figure you see, 86 million pairs of shoes given, that figure is from a few years ago. As of right now, and end of April 2021, it's a very safe bet that now we have gone way over 100 million pairs of shoes. Let that sink in. 100 million pairs of shoes. How many lives have been changed because of that? That's an incredible stat. And back in 2013, Blake sold 50% of his shoe company to an investment firm for a cool $300 million. So that's the power of building a business with a heart. Because again, when you do good, the world, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, pays you back 10-fold, 100-folds, a billion-folds. And that's what this has happened with Blake. That's amazing. But the moral of this story is that what has been that has really allowed Blake's brand, Tom Shoes, to really go global. It's not the shoes. The shoes are very okay, but they're nothing special. They're not made of gold or silk or anything, just basic canvas. But what really helped completely sell these shoes like crazy was this fact, the 1-to-1 for each pair sold giving one. And that's what has allowed this product to sell. And at the story has allowed this company to be able to sell incredibly well their products. And that's where we're gonna come next. The incredible power of having a story, because again, I'm sure you've heard the saying, facts tell, stories sell. And that's a perfect example of that. Again, one thing that we all do as e-commerce business owners is that we all look for opportunities to sell our products. That might be the natural, as a reflex, a natural thing to do, but it's not the wisest approach. Instead of that, we shouldn't be looking for opportunities to sell our product, because people don't like being sold. Instead, we need to look for opportunities to tell our story. We need to have, first and foremost, as I mentioned earlier, in our brand, we need to have a story, because that's what's going to allow us to really not only sell but dominate our niche, our category, our product. And the best way to do that is, as I mentioned earlier, we need to first to clearly identify our perfect avatar of our ideal customer, looking and trying to help and solve and help and serve that person with a very specific pain point. And our product is a solution to that very specific problem, or fills an emotional need or demand for that very specific person. And if we do that, and if we add to that a powerful story and a branding, then it's going to be the story that's going to do the selling for us, not the materials, not the price, not the reviews, not the packaging, not the endorsement by celebrities. That can help, yes, but it's going to be the story. That's what's going to allow you to really dominate and be the king of your category. It's going to do this. The story is what's going to do the selling for you automatically, naturally, organically, and repeatedly. Again, having a story should be your first priority when it comes to building, not just selling random products, but to building a brand. Okay, let's take a look at the scenario. Let's say you're at the conference. Let's say the world is back to normal, and we're all at a conference or in India with Megla and all that, and we all meet each other, and they ask you, so what do you do? The first question. That's one of the first questions we ask each other. Let's take a look at two different answers. The first way to answer it is, I have an Amazon FBA business or e-commerce business, and I sell, for example, kitchen products. Okay, that's nice. That's nothing special or remarkable or noteworthy or anything. And during that time, we're going to all receive like tons of business cards. And by the time you go back to your hotel that night or the next day, you will not remember whose card that is. But instead, imagine if someone were to tell you, or you were to tell that person when they ask you, what do you do? And you say, well, I make it possible for underprivileged kids in Argentina who cannot afford shoes to not only cover their feet, but also to allow them to attend school, as opposed to roaming the streets and ending up in gangs. Now, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be wild like crazy, because they've never heard anyone say that to them. And not only that, when you tell someone that, you will have their undivided attention. Sometime when we talk to people, a lot of time people will phase out and zone out. They will pretend that they're listening just to be polite, but they're not really listening. However, if you tell them that, hey, my product is helping kids to cover their feet and allowing them to not end up in gangs and instead go to school, you will have their undivided attention. They will be, you will have, they will listen to you. They will not care about anything else. And when you say that, they will want to know more about you in a genuine way, not just as a polite way, just to be nice and try to make some conversation. And then they're going to ask you, so tell me more. How do you do that? Wow, that's incredible. And that's what you can tell them. We manufacture high quality, sturdy, traditional Argentinian canvas shoes. And for each pair we sell, we donate a pair to a kid in Argentina. They're going to be blown away. When you say that to someone, you will be forever in their mind because they've never heard that before. They will be not only receptive to your message, they will remember you, they will talk about you, they will blog about you, they will mention in the podcast, they will refer people to you. And that's when the magic happens. Again, this is a very simple principle. If you have identified clearly your ideal customer and your product solves a very specific pain point for that person or fills a demand and has a nice story, a beautiful story and a beautiful cause, as I outlined earlier, then that's going to be a game changer. And that's something you can take this little scenario and just plug in your product. That's going to blow the people's mind away. Seriously, guys, we need to implement that. Every one of us in here has a story. Everyone. Even if you're selling just fidget spinner. Well, I hope nobody's selling fidget spinner nowadays, but even if you're selling garlic presses, you can still have a story around it. So let's find yours. The first way to build your story is look at where your product is being manufactured. Is it in India, in China, in Indonesia, on the moon, wherever? That's the first thing. Then ask yourself, who is making my product? Is it handicapped people, single mothers, parents, veterans, blind people, underprivileged people in a remote village, and so on and so forth? And then, are your products creating jobs for these people who would otherwise not be able to make a living and support their families? And if yes, you would need to mention all of that. It's going to be part of your branding. And then to really put the icing on the cake is you identify a cause that's dear to your heart, that makes sense to your business. For example, if you're selling kitchen product, for example, you can very easily and beautifully tie to it. For each product you sell, you can feed homeless or poor people and so on and so forth. I'm going to give you more ideas and examples of that in a few moments. And then when you put them all together, tie them all together, that's going to be part of building a beautiful story for you. But there's other ways you can do that in a more detailed way. You can, for example, document the journey of your product from the origins, from say when it was just a sketch on a napkin up until the final product. You can, for example, introduce and show, and that's again the beautiful thing and one of the advantages and benefits of sourcing from India is that you can actually introduce and showcase the people making your product as opposed to China. I'm not saying you cannot do that in China, but because of the language barrier, unless you're perfectly fluent in Chinese, you won't be able to achieve that. But in India, because most people speak English, you can very easily do that. You can ask your factory, hey, can you send me pictures, videos of the people working, even have each person working on a product, send you a short 30, 60-second video introducing themselves. That's going to be wonderful. You post that on your Facebook group, on your social media, because again, people love to buy not just from faceless corporations, but from actual companies with actual people. People want to buy from people. Like as I said earlier before this call, doesn't matter what you sell, you're in a people's business. People want to connect, relate with you, and that's one of the best ways to do so, by showcasing the people, introducing the people behind the scenes that are making this possible. And that's one of the best ways, is just to have a short 30 to 60-second video of them introducing themselves that you post on your social media. And then you could also add an insert inside your packaging with a thank you note from the person who made your product, telling how this product was made with care and love and how it has positively impacted their lives and so on and so forth. You add that to your packaging. It's going to cost you almost next to nothing, maybe a few cents, but the impact of that is going to really blow away the people receiving that, because I've been buying a lot of products online. I've never received anything like that. And if I were to receive something like that, that's a company that will I will post about them all the time. I will buy from them all the time, and I will basically become not just a one-time customer, but a loyal, repeat, avid, evangelical fan of them. So again, these are not very complicated steps, but most of you guys, especially those already doing really well, you can really implement those into your business within a few days. It's not complicated. Just ask your factory. Just do some initial brainstorming. Okay, where's my product being made? By whom? Is my product allowing them to better their lives, to support their families? In most cases, yes. Especially if it's manufactured in India or Indonesia or Philippines, a place like that. Then add a cost to it, time together, document the journey, introduce and showcase the people. And as we say here, bada boom, bada bam. You have a beautiful, unstoppable story. Now, let's take a look at how we can all implement that into our e-commerce businesses. First and foremost, select and choose a cause. Again, that's very personal. I cannot tell you what cause is good because it's very personal. So you will need to do some soul searching to see what cause makes sense to you, what cause you're really passionate about, and what cause makes sense to your niche, to your business, and that your audience also relates with. Some examples we saw earlier: the 1-for-1 model, which is for each product you sell, you donate one to someone in need. That's one way. Another way would be for each unit you sell, you can plant a tree, or you can donate a percentage of your sales for a cause of your choosing. Or you can feed the homeless, provide a meal to someone in the third world. Or for every $100 product sold, you can provide school supplies to a kid in a developing world. Or for every $1,000 of products sold, you can sponsor a well in a remote village in Africa, for example. Or for every $5,000 products sold, you can sponsor a school, a village, and somewhere in the third world countries. These are just some examples to get your creative juices flowing. But again, that's very personal. You need to identify what you're really passionate about and what makes sense to your niche, and that really is congruent and resonates with the audience. Again, one thing that we have to be aware of and be careful about is not to think of any all the donation we do as a cost, because that's not a cost or additional expense. Quite the opposite. It's some of the very best money you will ever spend in marketing, as I call it, in karma marketing. So, because again, the universe is going to give you back 100, 1,000,000 folds more. Because again, once you have an inspiring story, as I outlined earlier, and a powerful mission, then you will not be having just one-time customers looking for the cheapest deal, as we saw at the beginning of this presentation with the garlic press and the Me Too product. Instead, you will have avid, loyal, raving, evangelical fans who will do the your marketing for you, and that is the ultimate goal for any business, to get your customers to do your marketing for you. And you can only do that if you have, first of all, identified your ideal customer, and your products are the solution for that, the pain point. And then the kicker and the most important part is if your products empower them to do good to the purchase of your products. Once you put all that together, then your likelihood of getting them to do your marketing for you is so much more higher. And the golden rule to remember is giving is not just about making a donation. It's not about just tossing some leftover, whatever, some faulty products to someone in need. No, that's not it, because the giving has to be sincere. Don't do it just for the attention or for the marketing or what benefit. No, because people will see through it. Do it in a very sincere way, and do it because you want to make a difference. You don't want to be just giving some whatever. You want to make a difference with making a difference, giving them hope, giving them belief, and inspiring them. That's what it's all about. And when we do that, it's an incredible, massive opportunity for us, because not many businesses are doing that, especially in the Amazon e-commerce sphere. I don't know of anyone doing that, especially definitely not the big sellers from China, let alone the Chinese factories. And we all know the advantage of being the first to do something really good, really that's going to be a game changer, and having a cause and having a story behind your brand. That's definitely going to be a game changer. You do that, you're going to be the first in your niche, and that's going to give you a tremendous leg up of your competition. You're going to have a window of opportunity for 6 to 12 months where you will be unstoppable. And by the time your competition realizes that and jumps on that and does the same, you will be so far ahead of the game that it's going to be very, very hard for them to catch up to you. And also because it's going to protect your brand, it's going to set your brand apart from the other copycats. Because I mentioned earlier at the start of this presentation a term that I'm very fond of, which is called the multiple layers of differentiation. Think of each layer as an extra layer of insurance, of coverage, of protection against the enemies. The enemies being here the competition, the copycats. And the more you have that, the more you will be protected. And the best way to do that is to having a story and a cause, because again, most of these big sellers, they're only going after the low-hanging fruits. They're not going to spend the time to set up the foundation to build a really, really, really strong, foundation built upon a story, identifying ideal customers, helping and serving them, and having a cause and all that. And of course, once you put all that together, you will get tremendous attention from the media and the PR, because again, you're doing the right thing. And unfortunately, not many people are doing that, but it's changing. Let's take a look at some examples of tremendous leaders with a heart doing good with their businesses. The first one is someone that I've absolutely tremendous legend. I've had the honor of having on my podcast. It was actually one of the first guests I had on my podcast, Leader with a Heart. Mr. Oliver Berkovich is a skateboarder from Australia. Back in 2007, he went, as he said himself, with 3 skateboards in a suitcase and an open mind to Afghanistan and Kabul. At the time, Afghanistan was under the control of the Taliban. There was no freedom, no schools, especially not for girls. Kids and girls were not allowed to go to school or do any sports. But because skateboarding was pretty new, they had never heard of that. They didn't know how to stop that, how to censor that. So it was kind of a loophole for him to allow an outlet for kids, especially for girls, to have a way to have some fun and to get together, to forget about the daily challenges, and to get them to school. Because in the process, long story short, he's been able to build, through skateboarding, to build schools where kids can not only learn to skateboard, but also to be able to attend school. And for most of his kids, when they were in those classrooms, it was the first time in their lives they actually went to a classroom. And in the process, he was able to build skateboarding schools with basic education around the country. So far, he has skateboarding schools in 3 cities, in Kabul and Mazar-e-Sharif and Bamiyan. We have the massive Buddha statues. And from what he told me when I spoke to him on my podcast, they built the largest indoor sporting facilities in the country just recently. So that's a tremendous achievement for a guy, for him. So I mean, this guy is absolutely a legend. Just look him up on YouTube or on online. You will be blown away. And the way I was connected to him was actually very, very funny. One night I was just browsing to YouTube, and I saw a piece of news from actually an Indian news network, a piece about him. So I watched it and I loved it. And I reached out to him on Instagram. I messaged him and he replied back to me. He said, "I get in touch with my PR agent." I messaged her. I wasn't expecting much because a big guy, a big name. But lo and behold, he replied to me in over a month. We exchanged messages and we finally made it happen. So I was completely blown away to have someone like that on my podcast making an incredible impact in the world. So I highly recommend you guys to look him up online, but also to watch the episode I did with them on my podcast. I will show the link to my podcast at the end of this presentation. The second one is a good friend of mine, Ralph from Silverlight. We met in Hong Kong. He was actually staying with us for a few months while he launched his brand through crowdfunding. He's a hiker himself, and he made the best hiking socks. And I can vouch for those because I've been wearing these socks for the past year and a half. They're amazing. The biggest challenge that hikers face is first blisters, and second of all, smelly and wet socks. But because he made his socks with a special material, you can find all the details on his website. Is that first of all, these socks do not protect you from blisters, and also they do not stink. And I can personally vouch for that because you can wear these socks for a week, if not 2 weeks, and I can guarantee you they will not smell. These are game changers, especially for anyone that is traveling a lot or into outdoor sports, or even just you want to have a wonderful, comfortable pair of socks. This past winter in Canada, they were my go. I've been exclusively wearing those. They're absolutely amazing. But the kicker about these socks is that for every pair he sells, he plants a tree. In 2020, he was able to plant 5,700 trees. His goal for this year is to double, if not triple that. And his goal for the next 5 years is to be able to plant 100,000 trees so he can get his own tree plantation. Let's talk about having a big vision. So I highly recommend you guys check his the podcast I did with him and look him up online if you want to have. And I can guarantee you these will be the best pair of socks you will ever wear, while also doing good. This one is an absolutely amazing. How can I say an angel? Max is a Singaporean that I had the honor and privilege of having a podcast not long ago. After graduating from college in Singapore, he left. He went backpacking around Asia with not much money. And in the process, he fell in love, literally and figuratively speaking, in Thailand. He met a girl. They had married. They started a small farm in the north of Thailand in Chiang Mai, where is really doing God's work. He takes 50% of whatever he generates from the farm, the goods. He goes around town in the temples, helping and give them to the street kids and small remote villages. The other 25% of all he makes from the farm, he uses that to sustain the farm, and he only keeps 25% for his family. And he's doing a lot of other goods, as you can see here. We could do an entire podcast on him and actually add him on my podcast. If you want to hear more about him, again, you can find him on my podcast. But if you want to find out more about his company, just look up care108.com and you can hear about his story. And if you want to contribute and help him, that would really help as well. And you can also, if you want, you can also help Oliver as well to build more schools as well, if you guys feel inclined to do so. But yeah, these are absolutely legends, and they're not only building beautiful businesses, but businesses around impact, around helping. And of course, this presentation will not be complete if we not include, last but definitely not least, our own angel, in-house angel, Megla, the queen of sourcing from India. She's been doing a tremendous job, not only in opening our eyes to all of us to the incredible opportunities that India present, but also I found that I had the opportunity and honor of having her on my podcast also not long ago, that during her first India sourcing trip, she did something incredible, beautiful. And that was, for every attendee, they sponsored the education of a kid in New Delhi for a whole year. And what really blew my mind is that the amount required to sponsor a kid's education for an entire year was absolutely crazy. You would expect what, $2,000, $3,000, $10,000? It was nowhere near that. It was like a measly $100. Like most of us here in the Western world, we can spend $100 just. I mean, nowadays most places are closed. We cannot go to restaurants. But let's say we're back to normal world. You go out, just a couple of beers, a pizza. At least here in Canada and the US, and I was living in Hong Kong, it was the same thing. You would spend $100 without even blinking. But you take that same $100, and that's going to allow a kid, again, as I said earlier, the giving is not about the donation. It's not a donation. It's not about what you throw at them. It's about the impact, the difference you make in their lives. You allow one person, you take them off the streets, away from potential bad influences, gangs or whatever, and you give him an opportunity to have a normal life, to have a different future by being able to attend school. And it's all about the impact, the difference you make, the hope you give them, the belief in them. And that's something that when Megla told me that, I was not surprised, because I knew that She was not only a true leader with a heart, but an enlightened angel with a beautiful heart. But I was completely, even now when I'm talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps because that's so beautiful. And again, Megla, when things get back to normal, let's talk about helping even further kids being able to attend school. And even for my project, which I want to do from India, I want to give back to India as well. So that's something that would be very, very happy and honored to contribute as much as possible later on. I'm
Yeah,
sure
thank
there's
you so
much.
much, Payman, for mentioning this. And yeah, I just want to add that when we were in India, then we actually visited the school over there and met
Mhm.
with all of the kids, and it was just so heartwarming to see the
Absolutely.
kids. And there were about, I think, 5, 10 of us over there, and they actually did an Indian welcome for us with
Hmm.
a plate and like a diya or a little lamp, lit lamp on the plate, and then they prepared like greeting cards for us. They asked each of us, their names, and they had made these really beautiful greeting cards. So yeah, it was a very, very touching experience, and I
Oh,
can't wait to go
absolutely.
back to that school.
Oh yeah, the most beautiful part is I was just reading the book by Blake Mykowski, who was talking about his experience of when he first went to Argentina to do one of his shoe drops, which is basically giving back the shoes to kids in the villages. He said when he arrived in those small towns, when he went to those schools, they had kids lined up, and it was the most touching experience of his lives. He said he has never cried so much in his life than in those 2 3 days because it was so incredibly touching. Because again, the look of gratefulness in the eyes of these kids would never add a pair of shoes. Not only never add a pair of shoes, but now with the shoes they can cover their feet, but also be able to attend school. It
Yeah.
was the most incredible thing. He said he was crying like a river most of the time. He was crying in a way that he had never experienced before. And even from just like you mentioned yourself, Megla, when you went to the school, the reception you received, I'm sure that must have been an incredible experience. And even for me, I'm going to be again launching a product, and for each product I sell, I will donate a pair of eyeglasses to someone in need. And for me, what's really driving me is not the sales; it's actually being able to go and on the ground in India and being there in person, putting myself those glasses on the face of people. And that's the thing that I'm most looking forward to, because again, I'm not chasing money. I'm pursuing my passion or dream, because when I do passion and purpose, when I do that, money is going to be a byproduct. I won't have to worry about that. But again, it's about the impact, the difference you make in someone's life. So again, thank you, Megla. Thank you for all of you guys that have been doing good with your business. The world needs all of you now more than ever. Thank you. Okay, what about me? So as I said earlier, I'm ever since I was a kid, I always loved helping people. And now I'm in a position and blessed to be in a position to do something about it. I first started with a podcast called Leaders with a Heart. For me, I don't see it just as a podcast. I see it as a movement, because my vision is to build a community, a platform to bring in together other like-minded, enlightened entrepreneurs who have a heart of gold, so that together they can come and share their story, their message with the world, but most importantly, to inspire other entrepreneurs to do good, because it's all about inspiring. As I mentioned earlier, not any single individual can change the world single-handedly. However, if each and every single one of us were to do a little bit of good in our own little limited sphere of influence, and then each of us were to inspire just one other person, entrepreneur, to do the same, and they go on to do the same, and so on and so forth, then before you know it, the world is going to be a different place. So my vision is to bring together enlightened entrepreneurs, so that together we can only share other stories, but also inspire others to do good. So together we can make the world a better place. That's my vision with my podcast, The Leaders with a Heart. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm launching a product, a crowdfunding Kickstarter. Of course, it's a business with a heart. I am manufacturing a beautiful fashion item made of a premium leather. For each unit I sell, I will donate a pair of eyeglasses to someone in need. And my goal and vision is not to make $1 million, but it's to give the gift of eyesight to 5,000 people in the next 18 months. And if God guides me and gives me the power and the vision and the strength to achieve that, then I will be the most happiest person in the world. That's my vision. And as I said, I've been involved in all kinds of businesses for the past almost 15 years around the world. I lived in 10 countries and 4 continents, and I've never been so excited as this business in all my life. Because again, this is a business with a heart. It's something I'm really passionate about. It's not just selling a product just for the sake of making money. This is building a business that is all about impact. Sure, the product is going to be beautiful and high quality, because even if you have the best of intentions, but if your product is crappy, it's not going to last long. So for me, it's all going to be about the quality of the product. Is going to be handcrafted with the premium natural materials, sustainable, long-lasting materials, and a unique branding, just the way as explained earlier, showcasing the people making it, the beautiful story, powerful cause. Again, for each pair of that I will be selling, I will be donating a pair of eyeglasses to someone in need. And of course, the product will be very beautiful. I got not long ago the 3D rendering of it, and in fact, I keep saying, if the end product is half as good as the rendering, they're gonna be a massive, success. So again, because of all of that, because of handmade with love, with care, with high premium materials, it's going to be a very high quality product, and it's not going to be a Me Too product. And that's going to allow me to build a solid foundation of avid, loyal, evangelical fans. So I'm super excited about that. I'm not even concerned about competition, because I'm not selling just a Me Too product, but because I've taken the time to really build a solid foundation around it. Now, enough about me. It's about you. Let's make your brand, your business to be competition proof, so that you can be completely untouchable, just like in this little picture here. Again, the best way to do that, as I mentioned earlier, is to first start with the principles of the multiple layers of differentiation, as I outlined earlier. Build a powerful story and a beautiful branding around it. Add a meaningful cause attached to it. And if you follow these 3 little steps, then you will not be concerned about competition in your business. And I genuinely, sincerely believe that. So, and if you do that, not only you will not be concerned about competition, most importantly, you will have the most important, the most prized thing in the world, which is meaning, fulfillment, passion, and purpose. So yeah, let's make your business a business with a heart. My offer to you, I'm willing to get on a quick 20-minute call with anyone that's interested that is really genuinely wants to build a business with a heart. So we can brainstorm together how we can apply these methods into your Amazon FBA or e-commerce business. We're going to talk about what cause you're truly passionate about, what causes resonates with your customers, and what cause makes sense to your niche, so that we can find something that really add this cause to your business. And again, one thing I really want to emphasize: this is not a sales call. I have nothing to pitch or sell you. There won't be any coaching, mastermind, upsell, or whatever. I don't have that. I'm not into that for that. It's going to be just pure brainstorming to help you find what you're passionate about, to link your business so that together we can do good together. Again, my vision is to build an army, a legion worldwide of enlightened entrepreneurs and leaders with a heart. And if you're already doing good with your business, you are already a leader with a heart, I would love to and be honored to connect with you and invite you on my podcast so you can hear your story and share your message with the world. And most importantly, so we can inspire others to do good. So yeah, as I said, the most important thing is 2 key points I want to reiterate. 1, not any single person can do good, can change the world by their own. But if each and every single one of us can do a little bit in our own little sphere of influence, no matter how small it might be, and then we go on to inspire just another person to do good, and they went on to inspire another, before long, we will have an entire legion and horde of enlightened entrepreneurs. And the second important message I really want to emphasize is people want to do good, but they don't know how to do it or where to do it. But if you and me, we allow them to do good, to the purchase of our products, they will be eternally grateful, especially because they don't have to do anything. They don't have to contact any company or anything. All they have to do is just purchase our product. And because of that, they will not feel guilty buying our products, and they will be buying multiples of it because they know that by buying our product, they will be able to do good. So we're transferring the power to do good to them. Just like as Blake Mykowski mentioned in his book, you're giving them an opportunity to do good. You're empowering them to do good. And once you do that, it's going to change their relationship with you. They're not going to view you just as another business. They won't be just like another one-time customer just looking for the cheapest deal. Instead, they will be a loyal, raging, repeat, avid, and evangelical fans. And once they get to that level, they will do your marketing for you. They will talk about you, blog about you, podcast about you, tell others, and you will have an entire army of, call it affiliate, call it ambassadors, call it whatever you want to call it. I call it angels. That's gonna spread your message and spread the good word around you. So that's my goal. That's our goal, all here together. So let's all build beautiful, impactful businesses to make the world a better place and to inspire others. And the best way to reach me is on my Facebook page for the Leaders with a Heart. Leaders with a Facebook / Leaders with a Heart 1, and on my YouTube channel. I started my podcast not long ago, but I'm building it. It's been going pretty nicely. I have some amazing. I've been honored to have about 30 incredible individuals, enlightened entrepreneurs, enlightened souls, leaders with a heart, doing amazing with their businesses and giving back and helping. So feel free to listen to these if you want to really be inspired, because it's all about inspiration. We all need that, especially in these days. So I guess, as I said earlier to Megla and Margaret and Kevin, that's a topic I'm incredibly passionate about. I can talk for hours. You cannot get me to shut up, but I will shut up because I need a drink now. So it's any question, guys? Bring him on.
That was awesome. That was a great presentation.
Thank
Let me
you.
just remove your slides, Payman, so that we can have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was really good. And I think you coined a new term, which is karmetting, right? Is it karma
marketing? I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. Karma marketing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe it sounds better once you see it spelled out. Maybe I need to work on my pronunciation game on that, but I'll get it up eventually.
It's actually branding with a pure heart, isn't it?
Exactly. There you go, Kevin. There's many ways to label it, but yeah.
Yes, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
That was awesome, Payman. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, so
Very powerful, very powerful. I'm sure. I mean, over the past few months, we've touched on this in our monthly these shows when we've come across certain suppliers who they have got a certain reason, or they've got a cause by helping. It's a co-op, and they're helping sort of women who maybe they're single women or whatever, but it's a cause. And we've said many times, haven't we, Megla, it's what a beautiful branding story. And we've touched on it many, many times. And you just nailed it today, mate. I just can't believe how our sort of stars have been sort of aligned in some way to even today, with it was just incredible. And I was sort of, you're so passionate with your cause, and you've got me. You've got me there, Payman. I was sort of, yeah.
I have a personal, very strong reason for that. I mentioned that to Megla. I haven't mentioned that to many people outside because I have a reason for that. I was born in Afghanistan, and my parents were lucky enough to be able to get us out of there. So, but when I see all these people that have been currently in Afghanistan, all these poor countries that are really suffering, I feel it is my duty to help them, to give back to them. So that's why I have a very strong, ever since I was a kid, I always had this strong inclination to help those needy. Because again, you and me and all of us, we've been blessed by God that we don't have to worry about what we're going to eat tonight or where we're going to sleep tomorrow. But there are people, for example, if I was born in a different family, maybe me and you guys would not be having this conversation today. would not be. I don't know if I would even be able to be alive, because my family was lucky enough to live back in 84, 85 when I was 3 or 4 years old. So that's why I have a double personal, very strong rooted reason to want to build something with a meaning. And my ultimate goal is to actually build. Actually, when I did this podcast with Oliver, because he's doing helping the kids in Afghanistan, I said, listen, I would love to do collaboration with you and build and do a product e-commerce together. And I don't want anything. I will give all the proceeds back to your organization to help the kids in Afghanistan. But right now, the problem is Afghanistan is incredibly volatile, incredibly dangerous, and there is no logistic. It's very difficult to bring any goods from outside to Afghanistan. Otherwise, I would be on it. I would help him crowdfund, do a Kickstarter with them on a product for skateboarding, and give 100% of the proceeds to him, because that's what I would love to do. But first, I want to start with what's possible. First is India. I have a strong connection with India as well.
Yeah,
I love Indian food, and I grew up in an environment where we watch a lot of Indian movies and a lot of Indian songs.
Look, Payman, I'm sure that the world will keep changing, and the troubles in Afghanistan, sooner or later things are going to stabilize.
Hopefully, that's
the way we like to think, that sooner or later things stabilize, and and things might get back to normal. It's a long time, yes, I know, yeah.
40 years, sure. 77, yeah. It's all of us, we all, pray and that's what we hope for. Because as I said, I've been blessed enough to travel a lot. I've lived in 10 countries and 4 continents, but the country I would love to really go visit is Afghanistan, because from what my parents are telling me, my father is highly educated. He did his studies in France, was an archaeologist, geologist, and engineer. So he was working with the French back in the 60s and 70s. He was saying when the French archaeologists would come to Kabul in Afghanistan, once the contract is over, 99% of them decide to remain in Afghanistan, because it was a paradise to live, and their money would go so much further there. The hospitality of the people, the food. I don't know if you guys have tried Afghan food, but for me, it's absolutely incredible. But most importantly is the warmth, the hospitality of the people. That's why I would love to go to Afghanistan when I can. That's my ultimate dream, but right now it's not possible. No, it's not safe.
One day, Payman.
God willing, yes.
Yeah, but anyway,
maybe we can do a sourcing trip to Afghanistan soon, eh, Megla?
Yeah, totally. I'm up for it.
I'll be in charge of that. That'll be different.
I'll be in charge of that. You can be in charge of the India sourcing. I'll be in charge of the Afghanistan sourcing.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, we had a lot of neighbors from Afghanistan when we were living in one particular locality in Delhi. So yeah, there are quite a few of people from Afghanistan in India as well. So sure. Yeah, we used to go to their house, and I remember they used to give this, they used to serve black tea, and then they used to always have candy with black tea. Yeah. I found that very interesting.
We have a very sweet tooth, very strong sweet tooth. Oh, yeah.
I can imagine, Payman, I can imagine Magla, she won't organise a coach or a bus. It'll be some donkeys or some camels. just to make it exciting. just to make it a bit exciting for people.
Yeah. We'll bring elephants from India.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, NeoTrade. That's a really nice comment from you. So, guys, what do you think about what Payman just presented? There are quite a few people watching. Let us know in the comments, what did you think about building a business with a heart? And if you have any questions for Payman. Payman, what I really liked about your presentation was that you gave people specific ideas about what they can actually do to make their businesses more meaningful. And I think there's a lot that can be done from India specifically. As Kevin was mentioning, a lot of the suppliers that we featured, they also try to help communities. There's this one supplier from Kerala, for example. They've been around for 100 years. And they have really contributed a lot to their own city where they are based. So they've built a hospital over there. They've got schools that they are running. So they're really helping the community over there. And then there's other people who are very women focused. And there are companies that actually work with women clusters. There's this one company that we recently featured, Sirohi, Do you remember that, Kevin?
Yes,
Sirohi.
Sirohi, yeah.
Sirohi. So they are working with women in villages, and these women actually work from home. So they don't, generally they don't like to come out of the house to work. So this company actually gives the women work to do, and they weave baskets and other things at home, and that's really allowing them to be financially independent, which is life changing for many of them, and it allows them to be more independent, and then they can of course also educate their kids and give them better hope and better chance for the future.
Because again, you hit it on the head, Megla. It's not about the donation; it's about the impact, the difference you make in their lives, the hope you give them. Because most of these people, they have never seen any hope. Just like the case of the kids that Oliver helps in Afghanistan. 100% of his kids were never attended a day in school, but by them, because he used skateboarding as a loophole. Because when he came there, the Taliban had completely shut down the schools for everyone, especially for girls. Not only because of the cultural reason, but also because these clowns were completely back. Retarded mentality. They think girls are not supposed to even leave the house. But he was able to use that as a loophole because they didn't know what skateboarding was. So they couldn't ban it because they banned all the sports, the traditional sports, but they didn't know skateboarding. So okay, what is this? So they know how to react. And that was what allowed them to build a movement to bring kids from all the social classes, whether from rich families or poor families. And he noticed something very interesting. And I noticed the same because when I was coaching as a football coach and in China, I noticed that the girls were much more receptive and willing to participate and pay attention in class for football classes than the boys. And just like my experience, he noticed that the girls were much more not only attending, but also much more willing to participate, the best students. And that's why he knew naturally that he should focus more on helping the girls than the boys. So he's been building a tremendous movement. He's doing incredible things. So check his website. Absolutely amazing. This guy is an absolute legend, Oliver Perkovich. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of him, Kevin? Because he's also from Australia. Is he any famous?
Sorry, the name
Oliver
rang a bell.
Perkovich?
The name rang a bell. The name Berkovich that rang a bell with me. It resonated. So something or other. But I'll over the weekend I'll sort of search that one out and have a look at that.
It's pretty big. It's been on the major news media. He's done a few big TED Speaks even in Melbourne, and even he received I believe quite a few international awards for the program. They did a movie about him. They get the best best humanitarian project in the world back in 2011 2012. So he's a pretty high figure guy.
And the name really rings a bell with me, but I don't know. There's so much going on in our lives at the moment.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, Payman, thank you so much for your time today. It was absolutely an amazing presentation.
My pleasure.
And we've been going for almost 1 hour 40 minutes over here.
We can all keep going for hours because we all leaders with a heart, but we're gonna stop here. I know we need to.
Absolutely. So guys,
but I know after today too, Payman, you have to stay closer to us now.
Oh,
I know you are close to but I'm saying with sort of. I'm sure we can work on some projects sort of going forward with this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially once again, I'm working now. I haven't finalized it, but 99% with a firm in India. And as I said, I can't wait to go and meet them in India, shake their hands, work with them. And even, as I said, I'm a nomad. I'm seriously contemplating even, spending some time, 6 months, 12 months in India to really build a meaningful brand and meaningful impact on the ground.
Excellent.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, thanks a lot, Payman, and we will see you around.
Pleasure.
And thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for stopping by today.
Thanks,
we'll
Margaret.
see you next week.
Thanks, Margaret.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you later.